I'm playing Kog'Maw this game, AD carry bot lane, and yeah, Kog'Maw's a champion that I used to play a lot in, I think, like early-ish season 3 or maybe like late season 3 sometime. I used to play him a lot back in my diamond account, and but as of now I haven't like really touched him in probably almost a year, so I'm maybe pretty rusty with him. And the reason you like don't see him played ever is because out of all AD carries, number one, he's the hardest to play. That's because other than just tapping W and Q, his E is really hard to position well, and his R is really hard to aim and use. His auto attacks also have a kind of weird animation, so a lot of times you'll find yourself accidentally canceling attacks or something like that. So he's hard to use, without a doubt the hardest AD carry, so that's one reason people don't play him. Similar, that's like the reason why nobody played old Xerath, even though old Xerath was broken. It's because he was just too hard to play. And the other reason nobody plays him is that he has no escape whatever. His E is a slow, but it's visible and it's easy to get out of. So he doesn't really have anything going for him in terms of escapes. So in order to be good at him, you have to be really, really, really good at positioning. His W gives him a lot of range, so that you've got that going for you. But honestly, like if you can master positioning with Cog, the payoff is super huge because he can single-handedly carry games later if you don't get owned. You notice that I took cleanse instead of barrier. That's because once again positioning is so important that even a single stun will probably get you killed. So you need to be able to avoid that one stun. One thing about Kog'Maw though is that people say he's weak in lane, but he actually puts out a lot of damage with auto attacks that are powered up by his W. So if you got your W on, you're probably likely to win the trade. Like that the harass that we just pulled off on Varus, there's no way he was expecting that amount of damage. So look to trade autos whenever you have your W on. See how I'm forcing them away from the creep like that? Well, along with Thresh, obviously. But make sure that you don't get engaged on in return while you're aggressively trying to harass. Otherwise, they'll probably just kill you on the spot. Wow, I missed a cannon. For some reason, I always miss the cannon when I play Kog'Maw. Wow, okay, he's going way too hard. Yeah, that was way too aggressive of him. So we would have been winning our lane pretty hard without that. See, I'm still ahead in CS even though he's remained at, oh, he's gone back. So I had a CS lead, we would have been winning our lane, but he went way aggressively for no reason. You notice what I did there was after Master Yi came and I realized I would not be able to get away, what I did was get as close to Varus as possible so that my passive would kill him. I thought he would flash out of it. I'm not sure if he used flash or not, but if he didn't, then yeah, I'm lucky that he didn't flash out of it. So he's okay. So okay, this Thresh just missed his play. I don't really have words to say to that. But lucky for us, Varus got boots instead of maybe something more offensive, so that we actually won't lose out on damage trades, which is really important as Kog'Maw. The last thing you want to do is fall behind in damage.
An enemy has been slain.
Notice I didn't get a point in E until level 4, and the reason for that is because every additional point in your W, like, oh shoot, every additional W point is exponentially more effective. So as soon as you can max your W, the better. If you can establish dominance by level 3, that's really good. Bad thing is, I don't think this Thresh really knows what he's doing this game. Though we have a really big wave pushed up, so if they try to go in on this wave, then they'll end up taking a lot of damage. But with Thresh out warding, I can't get close at all because I have no way to dodge an accurate Leona Zenith Blade, and I don't want to have to burn my cleanse for no reason. So one thing to keep in mind is to have a sense of how long your W lasts, because you really want to really you can only do something when the W is up. So there I had to burn my cleanse. When you're against the Leona, make sure you don't cleanse too early. Don't just cleanse a Zenith Blade, because then she'll just stun you right after anyway. Wait until after she stuns to cleanse. So in terms of CS, we're pretty even, which is good because our jungler hasn't been down and theirs has been down twice. So, wow, he's actually way ahead of me. Okay, we actually got the ward. Good thing about Kog'Maw is that his attachment is so high. There's the enemy teleport. Oh, I think they actually canceled the TP. Please give me that. She was a bit too far. Yeah, so I think maybe Riven either canceled the TP. Well, in any case, the enemy TP didn't come down, which enabled us to get the extra kill. I'm gonna push out this wave before I go help that dragon. The W is also really helpful for killing dragon. Boots are pretty important to get early on for Kog, since he has no other way of escaping. In terms of builds, after I finish the Berserker's Greaves, usually I get the Lady of the Rune King into Phantom Dancer. Attack speed is more important for Kog'Maw than any other AD carry, because pretty much his only good point relies on his W. I don't care if he hits me, because I have enough lifesteal. So after Phantom Dancer, depending on how much armor they have, I'd like to get a Last Whisper, I'd like to get an Infinity Edge, but we'll get either that or a Last Whisper, depending. And then actually, Renown's Hurricane is an extremely good item on Kog'Maw and almost nobody else, because it procs his W with the percentage damage to multiple targets. once you have that, you're almost guaranteed not to lose a team fight if you play it well. So notice that I play a lot more safely when my W's down. Not getting any of these kills, but that's okay. As long as it means we win the lane. We just saw it Master Yi mid, so get a lot of us to push this tower for a little while. Though he might be heading down soon, so best to be careful. Yep, there he is. Unfortunately, that's pretty unfortunate. But 1 for 1 with me getting the kill is definitely worth it. Nearly down here as well, and I'm out of mana. If I hold the tower, I'll probably just die, so it's a good time to recall anyway. Now I'm just going to pick up an extra dagger since I'm going to be building a Phantom Dancer after this anyway. No point just saving the money when I'm probably not going to be going back to base for a while. And with this much attack speed, I should be able to trade very well with them bot. Even with how much health Leona has, I'll be able to kill her pretty fast.
Our turret has been destroyed.
I don't even care about taking minion damage backwards because I just have enough lifesteal. There's so many mid, this means that we should be going for the bot tower.
Rampage. Your team has destroyed a turret.
Seems like Master Yi is coming down alone for me. I'm actually confident that I can take him on, so I'm not going to run away until after this wave. And if he catches me, then I'll just 1v1 him. I feel like I had something else to say, but I forgot.
Your team has destroyed a turret.
So it's good that they had 4 people mid and didn't even manage to leave the tower. As long as we keep trading 1 for 1 like that, it's gonna turn out really good for us. Because there's almost no, well, there's really almost nobody that can face Kog'Maw late game. I think Dragon is relatively soon, so I'll stay here for a while, and after Dragon I'll be able to pick up a lot more items. Another viable option path on Kog'Maw is building Zephyr, especially because it gives way more movement speed than Phantom Dancer, and that's good for kiting. So if you're against a team that you need to kite pretty heavily, for example against an Udyr, or actually a Nasus would be a good one. But for this game, I'm going to rely a lot more on Thresh Peel than kiting, and Nasus won't be that big of a threat since it's shut down pretty hard. should have probably stayed, but whatever.
An ally has been slain.
Yeah, that was a little bit greedy.
An ally has been slain.
I'll go help mid since there's nothing to defend bot. That's why you take cleanse. Although I could have cleansed the ult. Okay, everybody's coming in, so I'm gonna get out of here. I could have cleansed the ult, but I didn't think Nidalee was gonna be able to follow up that fast. So I had to end up burning my Blade of the Rune King, but it's not a big deal. They're all hanging around in the jungle, so I'm gonna be careful for a little bit. Another good point about the Runon's build is that it also, I think the effect also works with lifesteal, so you'll heal back pretty quickly even if your only lifesteal item is Blade. I don't think they actually need me in this fight, so I'm just gonna keep pushing bot. Oh, I remember what I was gonna say now. So one piece of advice that's not just a Kog'Maw thing, but whoever you're playing, whatever lane you're in, know how long it takes for enemies to come back to lane after they recall. If you know how long it takes, then you'll know when to push and when to just freeze the lane, which one will be better. Otherwise, you can end up in a really bad situation where it freezes right outside their tower, and that's the worst possible spot, pretty much no matter what lane you're in. If you want to freeze it, either freeze it near your tower or push the wave into their tower before they get back so they recall. And in doing that, you need to know how long it takes for them to walk back. And on that same point, you need to know how long it takes you to walk back to the lane. If you're going to recall and the wave is pushing towards your tower, are you going to get back there before the tower dies? So you need to know stuff like that. And so now that I have finished pushing a bot, I can go regroup. Oh, I can actually afford Phantom Dancer, so I'm just gonna go get that. So yeah, that's just general laning advice. Another thing is if you're Kog'Maw, getting blue buff is actually really good. Since your ult has increasing mana cost each time you use it, you can run out of mana really quick. So, especially for tower sieges. Now, if you have a Xerath, he's already better at sieging towers than Kog'Maw is anyway. So, go ahead and give it to him. But for some other mids, it's actually way better to have blue on Kog'Maw. And another, I guess, general laning advice point. I don't know if I already said this in another video or not. Okay, actually two other points. One is that for whatever reason, I find that a lot of people recall on the cannon minion wave. And that is the worst possible way to recall in. So if you can force the enemy back on the cannon minion wave, that's awesome because you just got an advantage if they missed a cannon. But you should by all means try to avoid recalling on the cannon wave. Alright. So the reason I didn't try to kite that Master Yi was because of his movement speed boost. I would have died anyway, so I just wanted to get the maximum number of auto attacks off. So that was actually pretty bad positioning on my part, but I think it ended up okay, so yeah, I think we're still doing fine. What was his name before that? So, oh yeah, so yeah, try not to miss the cannons. That sounds really obvious, but cannon minions are really important. Honestly, just little things like that will start improving your gameplay by a lot. Another thing is that when you're playing AD carry, just one piece of really good advice is that always stay farther back than you think you need to. Like, no matter what circumstance you're in, because if you think you're far back enough, the enemy is always looking for some way to catch up to you. They're always looking for some way to gap close and surprise you so they can kill you. And that's, well, obviously that's how AD carries die. So, if you stay more behind than you think is necessary, then it makes the chance of them catching up to you so much lower. And that will just help your positioning by so much, just following that one little rule. He's gonna take all the farm. Oh wow, there's a lot top actually. So because we have Xerath, I have confidence in our wave clearing and pushing speed. And okay, yeah, they're doing pretty good top, so that gives us free reign on the turret down here. So I think we're gonna trade inhibitor for inhibitor. So fairly even trade.
Your team has destroyed an inhibitor.
The thing is with Kog'Maw, I really don't like building any kind of penetration, meaning Void Staff. I don't really like building Void Staff because like a lot of the damage he does is magic anyway, so the armor pen isn't really that necessary. Only if you're against a team with like a bunch of tanks, then I would build Void. But see, like Nasus only has Frozen Heart, whatever. Leona has a little bit of armor. I don't really. That's not really enough for me to build. I mean Last Whisper, not Void Staff, if that's what I've been saying. So I'm just gonna go with IE instead. Because you have so much percent damage that just, like that amount of armor isn't the worst thing in the world. Yi being bottom allows us to do Baron. Kog'Maw is a really good Baron killer since he has multiple sources of percent damage. Well, if you have Blade of the King, there's multiple sources of percent damage. I cleansed that really quickly since I wasn't looking down there. I wasn't sure if there was any sort of follow-up. But in case there was, I cleansed that really quick. Now that I see them coming up, I'm staying in the back. Remember the advice is to stay farther back than you think you need to. Now I'm a little too far forward. Now that there's so few of them left, the danger of me dying is pretty small.
Ace.
So keep in mind, when you're playing Kog'Maw, positioning is all important. Of course there, just killed the whole wave.
Has destroyed a turret. Your team has destroyed an inhibitor.
I'm gonna go see if the red buff is up. Which is pretty easy to scout with Kog'Maw since it's long range. So I'm gonna try to take this really quickly, otherwise they're gonna catch up to me. I'm just gonna go ahead and take our blue buff. I don't really care about giving it to Xerath. And actually that's not enough money. Well, I would have had enough money for IE as I went back, but anyways, now I have enough for IE. I'm really tempted to just buy Runons instead because that's such a fun item to get, but unless you have enough damage, Runons won't be that effective. You'll notice that when I'm playing any champion, regardless Kog'Maw, jungler, whatever, that I actually don't participate in a lot of the team fights, and I sometimes don't roam as much as you would think, and there's a good reason for that, which is that my playstyle, and actually the playstyle that you'll see as you get farther up in rank, is to have no wasted effort. So say for example you're mid lane and you want to roam top for a kill. Oh wow, I got hit by that. That's not good. But I felt there on me, so the regen should be pretty good. So what was I saying? I was saying for example, you're mid and you want to go top for a kill. But if you don't get that kill and the other mid laner stayed in mid, now you're behind on both gold and experience. So that roaming is not always ideal unless you have a really high percentage chance of getting a kill or objective out of it. And you see, like me not joining in on team fights. Like if I'm not needed in the team fight, I would rather stay and farm because yeah, you might get an extra assist out of it, but the gold that your team gets is still the same. So it's not more overall gold, and if you're taking the farm instead, then it's more overall gold for your team, which is obviously better. So if you're what was I even gonna say? Yeah, so if you're not needed in the team fight, then don't join if you're gonna win anyway. So that's why when I'm playing jungler, a lot of the time you'll see that I have like even higher farm than my lanes because a lot of the time I'm just farming lane instead of joining in team fights where I'm not needed. Anyway, game is long over, so it's time for me to stop. Thank you for watching and hope it helped.